Right, I also videoed too. This is the general lease, a friend of mine, Sinclair C5. Very short notice. He's going to a car show on Thursday, and he's just finished the body and painting and all that sort of stuff, and wanted me to quickly do something with the wiring. He didn't actually have a control box, and he couldn't get one in time, so he asked me just to basically mount in a relay, a Sinclair C5 relay, and get it working. It's basically cheap and cheerful run around Sinclair C5. You know, you can sort of state of these sorts of things here, so it's not a El Minto one. So yeah, no problem at all. He's mounted a plastic box here to protect it. Happy days. Put the original wiring in there, so if he doesn't want to try and control what's in the future, you know, he's got the wiring there. So whilst I have cut a couple of wires and cut the connectors off and put spade connectors on, effectively it is all there. So you could, with a little bit of skill, just put back to normal. So yeah, happy days. So what I've done, so just drew up a little diagram. I'm not an artist or electrician, but particularly by any means. So that here it is in case anybody wants to copy it. So you've got the switch on the handlebars, which as you can see just there on the left, which has the standard yellow and grey wires. Doesn't matter which one it is, but ultimately the yellow and grey wires come around to here, to this big connector block. So snip the two off. Snip it off, you know, either pull it off the splice, or snip it off, you know, an inch up, so you can resolder it quite easily if you need to go back. So I snipped it off about an inch up. Next up, I drilled a hole here in the box, ready to mount the relay in this position here. You do, doesn't matter which wire you do, but I did the yellow wire from the switch going to point 86, and then on this point here, point 30, you have the battery positive, which is the large brown wire. Snip off the end, put on a large spade connector, and then you basically join up the grey wire onto this. So there's a hole in the pin. You basically just poke in the grey wire, then you push on the large connector, and then Happy Days locks it solid tight. On this one here, 87, easy one. This one here goes to the motor positive, so that's the red cable. And then you've got the motor negative, which of course is the black wire. That then goes round. And what I've done here is I've mounted a bolt. Now you don't actually have to mount the bolt through the chassis. You could just bolt it all together in mid-air, basically, and cable tie up, kind of gist. But I think to do it neater, I've mounted a bolt just there. So drilled it through, long stainless steel bolt, you know, a couple of inches long, whatever it was. Bolted it on with washers, etc., ready to go. And that way I can connect up my spade connectors easily. So all I did is for the negative on the motor, it's got a spade connector. I just put it on there, job done. And then for the battery, it's also got a spade connector. Boom, bolt on there. And then you need, from this way here. And then you need an additional extra piece of wire. So basically, I had some thick wire, just sort of like amplifier wire, like this, for example. Actually, it's in green actually here. And all I did was I just got it the right length, put a spade connector on this end, put another round connector on the other end, and then ultimately bolted all three bits together onto that bolt. Connected up there, job done. Mount the relay so it's nice and tight, so it's not hanging around to whatever, and then that's it, job done. So battery's connected up. Okay, it's Happy Days. Now you can see it's wobbling like an absolute bandit because turn it off. Because the axle is bent. So my job of doing the wiring for this instance, Happy Days works really nicely. Sounds really good, powerful. Definitely a good benefit of doing that as you just get rid of all electronics. Obviously the downside is you don't get any thermal protection, motor overload, all this sort of stuff, battery power levels. But if you just want a C5 just hooning around, driving around quickly, taking it down the shops or whatever, and you haven't got a control box or electronics are knackered, then this works really nicely doing that technique there. But yeah, for him, unfortunately the axle's bent. Seems to be bent really at the end, but this part here actually spins nicely and smoothly, so I would say the damage is there. I mean, it probably is the axle, I don't think it's anything else, but I have put the ball bearing on properly in El Minto, and I did check it earlier, and yeah, you can see it does move a tiny bit like that. I mean, that's not exaggerated, it moves a little bit. So the axle's got a little bit of a bend in it. But we'll take it out on the road tomorrow and just see if it's stupid or if it's rideable. Who knows until we've tried it. But yeah, so to do this job, you know, you do need bits and bobs. You especially need yellow connectors. You need these large spade connectors, and you also need the smaller spade connectors like these ones that obviously accept the large wire. So you do need a bunch of those ones. You also need some couple of these ones here as well. You need some lengths of wire, so you need decent wire. You can't use thin epoxy wire for the earth. It has to be the same sort of size as the main cables, otherwise it's pointless. So power cable, for amplifiers, things like that would be good, but just a fit gauge wire, whatever that is. Heat shrinks, you need selection of spanners, obviously a bolt, drill bits if you want to drill and put them out a bolt through to do it half decent. And I say there's more nuts and bolts and bits and bobs in there. And this is a Sinclair C5 relay. This is what they look like. So a 4-pin one like that, and obviously out in there's a brand new one that I put in the C5s occasionally. And yeah, drill, cable ties, and I used this to make sure everything was spot on. So yeah, happy days for the wiring. Not happy days for the axle, but let's go from there. Cool, thanks all for watching, and cheers.